Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard. Well, good Monday morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and I am here with my very special guest, Miss Kristi July. Good morning, Miss Kristi.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful. It's a beautiful day. How about you?
You know, I'm always on cloud now when it comes to recording podcasts. I'm just super excited because, again, we're talking about family, yes. And today's topic will be finding balance in business and family.
Yes.
I think this is an important topic, and the reason why I brought Miss Kristi July in is because she is the owner of Rely Delivery Service in Mobile, Alabama. She is also a assistant principal here at a local high school, and her husband is in business as well, and he is a teacher as well. So a lot to find balance in.
Yes.
So, Miss Kristi, how do you guys find balance in business and in family?
Well, a few things. First, you kind of have to prioritize. And that's what we worked very hard on, and we constantly work on that. I mean, this is not a one time you create a plan and it works type deal and you just keep doing the same thing. So every day is different, but one of our priorities is our kids. So we need to make sure that the kids are getting the rest that they need, getting the food they need, getting those experiences they need, and are able to be successful in school. That's priority number one. So if something is going to negatively impact that, where both of us as professionals, neither one of us are able to help the kids in that arena, then we can't do it. So one of our big things is making sure that first off, our kids are taken care of. But secondly, in regards to business, we have hours. My husband's business has longer hours than my company does. So making sure that we have other resources that we have had to hire. And it really did get to that point because we were working long hours, crazy hours, 7 days a week, because his company has crazy hours 7 days a week. And trying to meet those customer needs was impacting us trying to be able to make sure that our kids were taken care of, making sure that work was done on time for school, that they were studying and actually learning, all of those very important things. So we just had to bite the bullet and decide we have to hire somebody. We can't do it. So we can't do it all at the same time. So we have made that investment to make sure that we have hired the right people that can be in place to take some of that weight off of us, especially during the day.
I think that's a very good point that you brought up, because when you have a business that you're nurturing and you're trying to work and you're trying to, take care of your kids, sometimes you can get tunnel focused, and I've been guilty of that. When I was working and I had a TV show that came on cable, and I had, kids playing football and soccer and basketball, pretty much something every season. And, still working for the church. And sometimes, business became so tunnel vision that I had to take a step back and say, okay, I would make promises to my kids. I say, okay, mommy got to, be busy for a season.
Yes.
But as soon as things slow down, we're going to go and we're going to do something that you want to do.
Exactly.
So I try to make sure, but it's so important because your marriage can start to suffer. The kids, performance at school can start to suffer. All because you're focused. And it's not a bad thing to be focused on business.
No.
It's not bad. It's not a bad thing to pursue business. But when business become all that you do,
and you consuming, yes,
and you start to neglect your other responsibilities, then that's when it's time to say, hey, let's take a step back.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you guys put into place? I know, or getting some help, hiring some people to help facilitate the vision. But what are some other things that you guys did to say, hey, we're going to make a conscious decision that, this particular time of the week we're going to spend with the kids, or, we're going to make sure that every second Monday of the month we're going on date night, or what are some of the things that you guys did to say, we're going to make sure we put balance in this thing?
Now, we've tried all of those things that you've mentioned.
Okay.
And like I said, every day, every month, every year is different because you have a new challenge that has come into play. So one of the things is like your kids are super active and involved. Well, my kids are too. So we're talking about gymnastics. At one point we did football. We're not doing that right now.
That's a career for even 6-year-olds. That's a career.
No, ma'am. And I'm just not ready. I realize it's not for me right now as a mama. We're doing soccer. We're doing volleyball. We're doing art clubs. We're doing things at church. All consuming. And so one of the things that we really did have to say, and I was the lead on that, saying no. If school is most important, and we did have a transition in our student school, so more work was coming from that. I had to say there's no way possible for us to have our kids doing all of these activities every single night of the week and then be successful in school. I'm not keeping my kids up till 10, 11 o'clock at night just so they can do both. But that's my personal opinion.
I think that's a great thing, though, because I have seen parents, and listen, sports is important.
They are.
It keeps kids motivated. It helps with focusedness. It helps them stay in shape. But at the same time, some of these programs don't realize, like football in this area, they will have those kids out 4 to 5 times at night.
Yes.
2.5 hours.
Oh, yes.
They got to be there about 5. They don't get done to about 7:30, 8 o'clock sometimes. And if they are not doing very well in the season, they may be there 5 days a week. So they don't understand that these kids when they leave that football field, they're tired. They got to eat. They got homework to get done. And if your kid is in a advanced program, magnet school, where they give a bunch of homework, then they're up to 11, 10 o'clock at night trying to get all this stuff done.
And I mean, that's every parent's choice. But in my family, I had to say no because it's stressing me out. My kids don't want to get up in the morning. And for me, there's just no return on that investment right now. And everything I do and my husband does, we're considering it to be an investment in our children and in our family. And so if my kids can't function because it's just too much activity, then we can't do it.
Yes.
So what we've done most recently is, like I said, they did transition schools, so they do have even more homework than they would have had in the past. So everybody can only do one thing at a time for a season. So I don't care if you choose for that to be sports, if it's in the art world, a music world, it doesn't matter to me. It can only be one thing, and it can only take place one night a week.
I understand.
Now, if we're going to play games on Saturdays, that's fine. But during the week, that is devoted to school and family time. So for our kids' side of things, that's how we've kind of tried to wrangle this thing in and balance it out, where they're still engaged in something, but it's one thing at a time and a little bit more limited, so that you can still have that moment, but we're not going to mess up in school.
That is true, because school is so important these days. Colleges are starting to look at kids in middle school.
Yes.
High schoolers or high school teams now are coming to middle school now. I know you work for the school board and trying to get nobody in trouble.
I know it happens. Yes, we all recruit as coaches or trying to build your team. Yes.
Yes.
But it is important, and it's important also because this is about more than just today. We're looking at this for the long haul. You're looking at kids going into high school. You're looking at them going to college. Every step in the educational process is to get them somewhere else. It's not to be the end all be all. And so for us, I need my kids who are in elementary school not to get burned out because we have a long haul to go. And so we're trying to constantly adjust that. At various times, we'll have mommy-daughter dates and daddy-son dates, and we flip. Where my husband will take my daughter, and then I'll take my son.
That's awesome because, you know, when they get to be preteens, teenagers.
I know, we're getting there. I'm scared.
I spend, me and my daughter, we have mommy-daughter time. We'll go shopping. We'll go to the movies. We like to cook a lot. That's our thing.
Okay.
But me and son time, I'm going to go with daddy.
Yeah. And, you know, I know at some point it's going to get to that. And my husband fusses all the time. You're just babying him. I said, let me love on him just a little bit longer because I know it's going to end sooner than later. And so we try to balance out at least once a month doing one of those and then the next month switching it up a little bit. We try to do things, even if it's work related, where we could take our kids. So that's important to us as well, because one thing that has helped with that balance between business and family is our kids understand that our businesses are their businesses. This is family here. Our hope, of course, is that as we continue to grow these businesses, our kids, when they become old enough, they'll be able to take it over. But if not, that's fine. They've been exposed to more than enough right now and have been helpful. But we try to have them involved as much as possible.
Let me stop you right there. I think that's very good. I've had several people to commend me. Now, my kids are, like I said, are 14, 13. As a baby, Kayla was in my arms. I'm editing. She's in my arms and I'm editing. Timothy's on the floor playing around, and every now and then we'll hit the little red light, which is the surge protector, and just shut my computer off, and I have to start all over. But I brought them up in the church. I brought them up going with me, and now at 13 and 14, they can set cameras, lights up, backdrop. They can break it down. They're booking appointments on their own.
Awesome.
I'm having to make sure that my schedule flows with their schedule. So it's a great thing. And what I have found rather, in the African American community is that we don't push raising our kids up with our business, whereas other races,
that's how they do it.
They can be 10 years old standing on a stool working that register and tell you exactly how much your bill is. And sometimes they won't even use the register. They know in their head how much you owe them. Exactly. And so they raise them up, teaching them the business so that when that parent is ready to give that business to that kid, they can run with it. And their lines of their generational wealth continues to grow, whereas we will start a business. We don't get the kids involved. And when the kids get older, they choose a different career. And now we have this business that, you know, we ultimately end up selling.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. And that's huge for me and my husband to create that generational wealth because I know that we are doing better than our parents did. But it's our job to make sure that we continue that growth and legacy. And the only way to do that is to get my kids involved, have them exposed. And even if for some reason they choose not to do it when they get to be that age, the exposure that they've had.
You're teaching them business principles, how to deal with clients, how to carry yourself in a meeting, how to negotiate. I brought Kay with me one time to meet with a client. We're negotiating rates. And I had her sitting there when we left there. Okay, so this is where I wanted her to go. This is where she wanted to be. And see, you got to understand this is what her budget is, even though this is what she's asking for. And so teaching her the art of negotiation. So then, and she's a shrewd business person. I have to watch myself around her.
I may need to hire her. I may need her on my team.
She already have said, I'm your manager. And I'm like, girl, she was like 9 or 10. Mama, I'm your manager.
I love it. Yes, I need to hire her.
And she will come to work for you. If the money is right, she will come to work for you.
But I think that's important. Everything that you're saying, we need to be feeding into our kids and don't require or expect someone else to do that. They're not going to get this stuff in school.
No,
and what they're
not.
learning in school is great and it's needed. However, the things that will set our kids apart from other kids that are just focused on what they're learning in the books in school, this will be that thing. This exposure will be the opportunity for them to grow beyond where their counterparts are. This will be the opportunity for them to be more financially sound and aware than their counterparts, and hopefully get to that point where they're owning businesses or they are the CEOs of companies and grow to that point. So I do think we need to invest in our kids and have them as a part of